Welcome to this edition of ACAP Today for Monday, May 11th, 2020. I'm Jason Parent. On today's broadcast, we're going to speak with ACAP leaders, our board chair, Steve Richard, along with our chief operating officer, Jamie Chandler, and our chief fiscal officer, Robyn Locke. We'll be speaking with them in just a moment about how their organizations, both ACAP and Steve's in terms of Central Aroostook Association, are faring and what the plans are, at least initially, in terms of bringing folks back into service at their locations. And we'll be talking about how the Aroostook County Action Program is working to make that June 1st, I should say, that milestone and what things are going to look like after June 1st. But before we do that, we're going to check in on the headlines and some news that you can use and information that we wanted to share with you in terms of services that we are offering at this time. First and foremost, as I noted, our offices will remain closed to the public through at least May 31st, although the governor's announcement last Friday that rural Maine would reopen as early as today, Monday the 11th. We are not opening our offices to the public, although all of our services are continuing to be offered remotely. I would say most of our services are at this point. And we do resume some of our work in homes in terms of weatherization actually this week and next. So please do not feel like you cannot reach out to us. We are still here for you at this time. Next, we wanted to let folks know that we also are hiring at this time. We do have some current openings for nutrition specialists and ed techs across Aroostook County. So please do consider, if you have the qualifications or you have other interest in these positions, please do look them up online and know that we will take resumes during this period of time and can even do orientation remotely with folks. The 2020 census is this year, and we are looking at a response rate in Aroostook County of about 43.3%, which is lagging behind the state's response rate, which is at about 50%. ACAP will be encouraging individuals, if they need assistance completing their 2020 census, please do reach out to us. We have worked with the local Census Bureau officials and have made arrangements to be able to help our consumers be able to enroll with the census and get their information in. So if you are challenged with getting your information in for whatever reason, please do give us a call and we will connect you directly with the Census Bureau and make sure that there's an appointment and a time available to have assistance to get your information in for the census. If you are interested in any ACAP services, we do encourage folks who have the ability to go online to check in on our website. At the bottom of our main page that you can see right here on your screen is a short profile that we'll ask folks to complete, and in providing that information, we'll be able to reach back out to you and help you understand what programs or services you might be presumptively eligible for. So please do consider using that as a method of communicating with us. And we have had well over 600 new customers who have worked with the agency, individuals and families who have worked with the agency since about mid-March, and certainly are available to serve additional individuals across our programs at this time. Tax help is also resuming effective today through the United Way of Aroostook and the Aroostook Cash Coalition, of which ACAP is a member. They have re-entered into phase 1 of their updated tax services, and this is currently for clients who need help to file the main property tax fairness credit. If you would like to schedule an appointment or get more information on the next phase of opening for the Aroostook Cash Coalition, please call the United Way of Aroostook, our partners there, at 764-5197. We also are continuing to take applicants for the Home Energy Assistance Program. There are special allocations for individuals who have been impacted economically by COVID-19. Please do reach out and call us. We've had over 100 individuals who have done that in the last month and a half or so. We also have taken over 5,000 applicants from across Aroostook County this year. And the income guidelines in general have changed this year, and we continue to take appointments through the 15th of July. You can get in as early as next week at this point. So we do encourage folks who think they may be eligible to give us a call. You can also find online the eligibility guidelines for the 2019-2020 heating seasons. So please do check those out. And if you think you'll be eligible, consider applying. The benefit will remain on your account for up to 18 months. So although we hopefully can turn the thermostat down soon, this fall when we need to turn it back up, the funds will be there on your fuel vendor account. So please do consider applying if you think this program can be a benefit to you. Our Head Start and Early Head Start programs are enrolling for the fall session, and our Head Start program is enrolling for a special summer session session for 2020. Assuming all is a go, we will be getting that session off the ground as soon as possible after the 4th of July. So please do give us a call if you have a child that you would like to see enrolled in our Head Start program, or just would like to know additional information. 768-3045 or headstart@acap-me.org will get you in contact with the right folks. We also want to remind you that if you or someone you know is experiencing homelessness or is housing insecure, please do give us a call. There's a wellness shelter for individuals experiencing homelessness, a temporary wellness shelter that we've established in partnership with Maine Housing and the University of Maine at Presque Isle on the UMPI campus. We currently have 7 shelter residents there and have room for additional residents if you know of somebody who could use this service. The rental relief program, the COVID-19 temporary rental relief program, is still being offered as well in partnership with Maine Housing and ACAP and CAP agencies across the state. This provides a $500 one-time payment to the individual's landlord to assist with rent. That's if the household has been impacted economically by COVID-19. We've processed through over 330 applications at this point and still have funding for additional applicants. So please do either log on to mainhousing.org/COVID-rent or give us a call at 764-3721 and we can help you apply online for that program over the phone. And lastly, in the news you can use and information we wanted to share with you today, we have partnered up our Let's Go 5210 Let's Go program with Northern Light A.R. Gould Hospital and their Fit and Fun series to challenge the community to get out and get moving throughout the month of May. Obviously do this socially distancing appropriate, but certainly if you want to bike with your family or walk or run or just be active in some other way and take a photo of your family or you as an individual doing that and send it to us, send it either to us here at ACAP or Northern Light A.R. Gould, and you will be placed into a drawing for a basket of goodies from ACAP and Northern Light A.R. Gould that will be held each Friday during the month of May. So we look forward to seeing who the winners for the remainder of the month will be, but please do get out and get active, especially as the weather hopefully continues to improve. And with that, that's today's news and information you can use. I'm pleased now to welcome to the program 3 individuals who are instrumental to the leadership and the direction of the Aroostook County action moving forward. First is Steve Richard, the chair of the board of ACAP. Steve, welcome to ACAP Today.
Thank you, Jason. Glad to be here.
And joining us in the conversation after we talk with Steve about his organization, Central Aroostook Association, Robyn Locke, ACAP's Chief Financial Officer. Hey, Robyn.
Hi, Jason.
And Jamie Chandler, the COO, Chief Operating Officer here at ACAP. Hi, Jamie.
Hi, Jason. Great to be here.
Thanks to all 3 of you for joining us. So Steve, let's begin with you before we talk about things that are happening here at the Aroostook County Action Program. You also run a nonprofit organization here in Central Aroostook. How are things going and what's happening with Central Aroostook Association?
Thanks, Jason. Yeah, we run 8 different programs here at Central Aroostook Association. So the impact to the programs have been different. For example, we run a special purpose private school. So we've been distance learning just like all of the other schools. Our teachers and ed techs have developed educational materials that we actually drive them out to the individuals and they pick them up. We're having Zoom meetings with individually with the staffs, and we are also doing our speech pathology or speech therapy through telecommunication. So OTC has been really busy. In our adult programs, because of the limits of bringing people in and because of the mandate by CDC and the governor's office, we've not been able to run our adult programs the way that we normally would run them. So what we are doing is, like probably the Aroostook County Action Program, is we're looking for a June startup. But because we are in such uncharted waters, you know, we're trying to figure out exactly what we need to do. Obviously, transportation is a big thing. Trying to get the individuals here in our at the Aroostook Regional Transportation System buses, as well as using our own buses, as well as doing something new, which would be allowing parents to bring their sons or daughters to the program. So transportation is an issue. The other issue, of course, is what we all face. Should we wear face coverings or should we not wear face coverings? Should staff wear face coverings? Well, if staff wears face covering, should the individuals that we support, do they need to wear face covering? If they don't, are they going to be allowed into the programs? And what kind of screenings are we going to do for the individuals prior to them coming to the programs? And of course, doing that social distancing, which we're having to be kind of creative in using all of our buildings. Obviously, because the Opportunity Training Center is not in session, we have a building that we'll be able to, an additional building that we'll be able to use. So we have some questions that we have put together a team of people, just like probably ACAP has, to work on all of the various issues that we have in trying to get our adults back. Now, with case management, we case manage over 180 adults, and we case manage about 60 children. So we have been doing that right along because we've been able to do teleconferencing or telehealth, depending upon how you want to do that. So our case managers have been very busy supporting individuals. And the problem is, obviously, we've not been able to do that face-to-face, but the support is there. In shared living, we have been capable of doing shared living, which has been no problem whatsoever. Residentially, that we run 6 homes, and obviously we rotate staff through the homes. So that's been a challenge to make sure that we keep the safest environment that we possibly can, which means that we've been kind of sheltering in place all of the individuals who reside on our homes, but yet bringing staff in and asking staff to really limit their travels, to really limit where they're going so that we limit exposure. Our staffs for the last 3 weeks have been wearing cloth masks when they go into work, and we're taking all the necessary precautions, the washing of the hands. Obviously, the individuals who live in our homes, we used to bring them to the grocery stores to help us do the grocery shopping and stuff. And again, to limit their exposures, because a lot of them are immune compromised anyway, that we've been not allowing them to do that. So it's been a challenging time. It's been an interesting time, so to speak, but you know, we've been hanging in there just like everybody else.
So changes across the board, even in residential, where individuals that you serve and staff are still able to be in contact with one another in person for obvious reasons. But how are staff and your consumers responding to, I mean, some you're connecting with via telehealth, as you pointed out, or electronically anyway. And others, obviously, there are programs that have been out of service for a period of time. What are you hearing from your extended CAA family?
Yeah, well, we run a children's support program, better known as Section 28, which is that supporting young children in their homes or in the community. That's, a lot of parents have really reached out to us. They're at wit's end as to what to do. They're very, very anxious for our workers to be able to get back in and do face-to-face programming with their sons and daughters. Again, this morning at our team meeting, we talked about even when we are able to start up the Children's Services Program, we probably will limit it to in-home only, again, to limit the exposure to everybody as we go through this.
Now, Jamie Chandler, you're hearing Steve Richard talk about the nuances of all of the programs that they offer at Central Aroostook Association. The same is true for the programs that you oversee as the Chief Operating Officer here at ACAP. A lot of details and a lot of precision and thought that goes into what you do with each one. How have you been managing through these days and working with staff across the organization to determine what's best and how best to proceed?
Yeah, so very similar to what Steve was talking about. We have a team of leaders, program managers that meet on a very regular basis and look at what are best practices from our peers across the state and across the nation for how we should proceed with bringing people back into offices and resuming services to the public, whether it be in our offices or in people's homes, and ensuring that we are following all of the recommendations and guidelines and doing what's best for not only our staff, but for the residents of Aroostook County that we're serving.
And Robyn, I mean, Steve mentioned this a little bit, but this obviously has challenges you on the fiscal and administrative side as you oversee our fiscal and administrative teams. How have your teams been working through and responding to this rapidly changing environment and the need to sort of look at how you support an operation like this that's rapidly evolving in different and new ways?
I think the approach has been, on the fly, a lot of it. So we've made changes just as the agency needs. So, everything from being able to take credit card payments in a different way in a different location to support folks not using cash, to doing budget amendments and estimates about, what does the next 6 months look? How much funding do you think you will need to be able to support certain things? So I think that being available, we have split our team up. So half of the team is at the office, half the team's working from home. So making sure everybody's available and supported, and they are helping each other out, checking in with each other to see if they need help to be able to meet all the different deadlines.
Steve, you're involved, you're civically engaged in a number of organizations, ACAP being one of them. How are you finding that organizations that you're networking with and that you're seeing like ACAP are responding to, as you pointed out, these unprecedented times and with things seemingly shifting by the minute, let alone the day?
Well, I think we're very fortunate here in Aroostook County that I think people are taking the virus very seriously and have, put into place a lot of the CDC regulations. But, like for instance, I'm on, as you, Jason, I'm on the Board of Visitors for the University of Maine at Presque Isle. And to think that there was a virtual graduation that just took place last week is really, again, as we say, unprecedented. You think of all those students who have worked really hard to walk across that stage to pick up their diploma, and not being able to do that in the old fashion, that certainly had an impact. My wife is on the board of directors for the MSAD #1, and just them talking about what they are going to do for not only distance learning, but how are they going to handle graduation and what's it going to look like. So, I mean, I think it's really impacted a lot of agencies, including the transportation agency that I talked about earlier, as to, how do we supply transportation, which is vitally needed to Aroostook County people in a very safe manner. So it's been a challenge all the way around.
Robyn, certainly you and I can attest. We have high school seniors who are both graduating from Presque Isle and Caribou respectively this year. Let's shift just for a moment and talk about how families are holding up. Steve was talking earlier before we were recording about his family. He has children in different parts of the country. How's your family holding up, Robyn?
Yeah, so I have twins that are seniors, and what the school system came up with, which I applaud, is, a graduation, an in-person graduation, but it's set by the hour and there's only 10 folks at a time. So the twins will go together, which is a blessing. You get 4 guests. And so that's limited. I'm hopeful that there's going to be some kind of video, obviously, but I think that, it's hard. They're boys, so they're like, about prom, right? Whatever about prom, but their project graduation and the graduation ceremonies, I know they're really looking forward to it. And also they're hard workers, so they're chomping at the bit to go back to work. But the distance learning, I gotta say, Colby's grades have never been better. So I don't know what's going on. I think his girlfriend's helping him. I have no idea.
Getting an assist.
Yeah, she's 1 year older, so you never know. But yeah, it's been good otherwise.
Now, Steve, you have adult children and they live in different parts of the country. How are they faring? Are they fearful of contracting the virus? Are they seeing in their communities the prevalence and the spread, unlike the intensity that we're seeing here in Aroostook County, or the lack of intensity, I should say?
Yeah, obviously, yesterday we get to talk to all of them. Obviously, where it's Mother's Day, they all kind of called in to check in with Lucy. Our son, who's a OBGYN oncologist in the Philly area, he is not on the front line of the pandemic because he's still being able to do operations at this time. But he has 3 small children, and he's also very worried about contracting the virus and bringing it home to his kids. Our other daughter is in southern Maine. She's in the York area, so she'll say, "Well, I had to go to Walmart today." Well, no, you really didn't have to go, Sam. But she's taking the precautions. Have 2 in Texas, and other than the fact that when I showed them the pictures of what took place on Saturday, they said, "Okay, Dad, that's enough. You and Mom got to pack the car. You got to come to Texas with us." Our daughter is she's kind of a germaphobe, so she's very worried, and she takes care of a 1-year-old, so she's wanting to make sure that she provides that safe environment for those. So, but yeah, it's a big worry. My other son, Sean, who he lives in Texas, but he works out of Florida. Of course, his flying has stopped. And has to resume pretty soon. And he has a young child in the family, so he's really worried about that also. So,
Jamie, lastly, you on this subject, because you're at the opposite end of the spectrum where you have young children at home, and unlike Robyn's, who maybe can guide themselves through the school experience, it requires a little bit more hands-on effort from you. So how are things with your family?
Yeah, so things are going pretty well. We're in phase 2 of our distance learning, and the first phase included some paper packets. And when phase 2 came out, we had the option of doing paper or virtual, and we chose virtual, and things have been going much smoother. Oh, there's one of them, yes. Things have been going quite well since we've moved to fully virtual. I will say one of the things we've discovered is that the Wi-Fi and the bandwidth at my house, when all 3 of us are on Zoom calls or Google Classroom at the same time, I from time to time need to turn my video off so that people can hear me. But we're figuring it out. We've sort of developed a schedule, and there are some days are easier than others, but we're working through it, and we're looking forward to the 3rd and final phase of distance learning, and the kids are counting down to the end of the day on June 5th. Just gonna say.
Jamie, let me just wrap up with you. I'd like to get all of our guests to make sure that we've covered everything that you wanted to talk about your respective role in your organization or getting it back up and running. I'm going to start with you, Jamie, and then go to Robyn. And the second part of that question is, what is your advice for others to make it through these challenging times? So anything we haven't covered, and then what's your advice?
Yeah, so just to reiterate, Jason, as you indicated earlier, we are continuing to provide services. We've actually been able to increase the number of services that we've provided over the last few weeks. Although we have been providing services virtually, we're able to reach more people. And so it helps us to think about maybe how we might change things going forward. I think my advice is just as I indicated earlier, we're all learning new ways to do things, and we're discovering some challenges along the way. But us Aroostook County folks, we're really tough and innovative, and we're able to create solutions. So we will make it through this, and we will all be stronger for it on the other side.
Yep. Respects, we're experts up here with our relatively low per capita numbers, I would say. Robyn, Locke, your any last thoughts, anything we haven't covered from your perspective and your advice for folks? Oops, you're muted, Robyn. There we go.
Yeah, I thought I was there. We go. I think that the accounting folks and the administrative folks are, waiting on Jamie's teams and the programs to be able to determine what is next to be able to properly support them, because we are part of the support services team. And so we follow their lead. We'll need to figure out some spacing, obviously, we talked about that. in the office. But we're also taking this time to do some things that we've never done before, evaluating some new ways to streamline processes, some different softwares to consider, policy review. So it's been a blessing as well. Words of advice, very similar to Jamie, you know, patience and understanding will go a long way as we work through some of the challenges and differences in the way that we do business nowadays. So thank you.
Good, thank you, Robyn. And Steve, lastly from you, anything about Central Aroostook Association or ACAP that you wanted to make sure you mention, and your advice for folks?
Sure. I'm going to turn around and ask you a question, Jason, because I'm really curious about this. I've worked with you for many years and enjoy working with you. And I know that you are a real people person, that you are a real kind of face-to-face individual, not in the face, but face-to-face. I'm wondering, how are you making out with the process that's a little bit different, things like Zoom and Microsoft Team and every other thing going on?
Well, thankfully, I intentionally drew the straw that I would be the only senior leader left on site. So we have a group of 12 of us here, so I get to interact in person, obviously, when we're maintaining the appropriate social distance with the 12 folks that are here in the office. But as I pointed out, and my team will recognize and appreciate, is that pandemics are not for extroverts. And certainly I've had a challenging time. Normally at lunchtime, if I feel I just need a recharge or something, it would be just very convenient for me to walk over to Walmart and just get and be around people and the like. And if I want to do that right now, looking out the window, I'd be at a line about halfway to the garden center. So it's not. Life is different, but thankfully I get to have our small family that's here at the office every day and interact with them appropriately, and then and then go home and by the time I get home, I must say that my wife and kids have had enough of each other for the day, and they're homeschooling and a boy with senioritis and the like. So yeah, it's different, Steve, and it's thank you for calling it what it is, but it's not an easy time for folks who charge and get energy off of people. And the other thing I would say, and my team notes this, is that I think that my reaction to Zoom meetings like this, especially if I'm not speaking and as actively engaged and I'm just a participant, is I feel like it's almost like watching TV. So I've got the munchies all the time and I'm constantly grabbing something to eat. So pandemics are also not healthy for my waistline, is what I'm discovering.
Well, let me say, first of all, about Aroostook County Action Program. I'm very, very proud to be on the board of directors, and very, very proud of everything that you guys are all doing. Obviously, ACAP has been one of the leaders in providing information and support for people in Aroostook County. And it goes to show. I mean, ACAP it seems like is on top of all of the things that are taking place, and is truly out there trying to support not only low-income individuals, but anybody, because we've seen a lot of people who might not have had that status, but now are without employment, maybe still waiting for that unemployment check to come in, worried about how they're going to pay their bills. It's nice to know that that 764-3721 number is there to lend that support to Aroostook County people. So again, I'm very, very proud of all of the work that you guys have been doing, and proud to be on the board. As far as Central Aroostook Association is concerned, you know, I really want to be supportive of the families. This has been a family organization since its inception in 1959. It was established by moms and dads who wanted the best for their sons and daughters, and we want to continue doing that. But it's, you know, now trying to build that trust up to the parents who have had their sons and daughters home, to trust us that we're going to provide the safest possible environment that we possibly can, is going to be a difficult thing, you know, because we can't control everything, though we wish we could. We wish we at sometimes could live in that glass dome to prevent anything from happening. But we're just going to have to play it out. We're going to have to be smart and do the things that we really can do.
And lastly, any advice for folks that you wanted to share about getting through these challenging times?
I agree with Jamie and Robyn. You know, we have to have patience. I mean, we have to have the understanding that we do need to reopen this economy, but we've got to do it in a good way. We've got to make sure that we provide the safety that we all need. And you know what? We really have to trust one another.
Great advice, Steve. Thank you so much, Steve. Richard and Jamie Chandler and Robyn Locke, thanks so much for being our guest on ACAP today. Before we leave you, we did want to, as we usually do at this point on ACAP today, remind you of some resources. Steve was mentioning that the 764-3721 number is always there for folks to call. So is AroostookCommunity.com. It's a great new site that we established in partnership with the Aroostook Health Network and other community partners at the beginning of the pandemic, and it really provides you with an opportunity to log on. There's no cost to register and to post a query of something you may need help with, or if you'd like to help others. So if you'd like to deliver groceries to someone who prefers not to go out or is shut in otherwise to protect themselves, you can post that you're willing to do that online, and we'll help make that match happen. But please do reach out, whether it's through AroostookCommunity.com or directly to us here at ACAP. And we leave you today with our snapshot of the day, as we do at the end of every ACAP Today. This is Penny Horn, a teacher at our Presque Isle Regional Career and Technology Center at SAD1. She provided this video online to her students today to show them how they can make music and fun out of just about anything. And as you're seeing, there are some kitchen pots and pans there. So there are some parents in for wonderful concerts at home this afternoon and this evening. You can find Penny's video and many others from our early care and education and prevention specialists today on our YouTube channel, and they are for everyone to enjoy, not just individuals who we serve here at ACAP. So please do log on to our YouTube channel and check out Penny's video and a number of others as well. And with that, I just want to say thank you to all of you for tuning in today. We'll be back tomorrow for another edition of ACAP Today. Have a great rest of your day, everyone.